This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Who would have thought China, South Korea, and Japan would stand up together against the United States?
They need to proceed cautiously because we all value the independence of the court system.
As long as I can, I'm going to stand and read stories like this because you are seen. Your voices are more important than any of the 100 of us.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Trump tariff time. We are less than 24 hours out from what's being billed as a Liberation Day announcement from the president. Donald Trump's new tariffs on a flurry of countries will go into effect immediately until the playing field is leveled for American businesses.
Those days of America being ripped off are over. American workers and businesses will be put first.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says, don't like it? Call Donald Trump.
Certainly, the president is always up to take a phone call, always up for a good negotiation.
But critics warn the strategy risks a global trade war, like triggering a chain of retaliation by major trading partners like China, Canada, and the European Union. Some Asian countries are already saying, fine, we'll trade with each other and cut the U.S. out. Economist Andrew Bush.
These countries are not going to stand alone. I mean, who would have thought China, South Korea, and Japan would stand up together against the United States and say, if the U.S. goes through with this, we're going to put the same amount of tariffs on. So it's creating all sorts of chaos within the business community and also within geopolitics.
Many countries charge astronomical tariffs on U.S. products, like Canada's 250% tariff on U.S. dairy. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says this is an upset. It'll change the game on trade for the entire world.
For the first time in decades, probably since I was a college student, we're going to see a fair trade, and everyone will have the opportunity to lower their tariffs, lower their non-tariff barriers.
Back at home, Fox correspondent Jeff Flock visited an auto dealership in the Philadelphia suburb of Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. He says the car industry here is on edge.
Automakers say they don't care so much. Well, they don't like it, but they don't care so much about tariffs on cars coming in. But if you start to tariff all of the parts, the thousands of parts that make up a car, then you wind up maybe upending the entire industry.
Capitol Hill's a busy place today. In one room, a House committee hearing over activist judges that keep shooting down President Trump's executive orders. Wyoming Republican Harriet Hagerman.
They're not supposed to be a superior Supreme Court. They're supposed to be the court that decides the issue of the parties before them and issue a decision that relates to those parties before them, not issue nationwide injunctions.
Maryland Democrat Jamie Raskin.
They're being vilified. They're being threatened. These judges are not rogue. They're actually enforcing the law and the Constitution.
Constitutional law attorney Jonathan Turley says the House needs to tread carefully.
They need to proceed cautiously because we all value the independence of the court system. That's the reason I've opposed these calls for impeachment. I think they're unwarranted. But there are things that Congress can do. These national injunctions have long been a scourge for presidents.
Then in a room across the hall, a senator has held the floor, speaking for more than 20 hours now.
People living in rural areas see their local Social Security agency on a list that Elon Musk put of places he's going to sell away.
New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker protesting the Trump administration's cuts to spending, especially Medicaid and Social Security. He's been reading letters from upset constituents.
I'm going to stand as long as I can. As long as I can, I'm going to stand and read stories like this because you are seen, you are heard. Your voices are more important than any of the 100 of us.
Trump has repeatedly pledged not to cut Medicaid except for fraud and abuse. Booker's speech is closing in on a record. The late South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond holds the longest Senate speech. He spoke for more than 24 hours in 1957. At the State Department, the president's wife, Melania Trump, gave out Women of Courage awards today.
To the women who are driven to speak out for justice, even though their voices are trembling. To the women who are motivated to rise up for their community when others remain indifferent. To the women who feel compelled to heal wounds caused by hatred.
One of the recipients, Amit Susanna, was taken hostage by Hamas in Israel during the October 7th attacks and was released. She's an advocate for those still held captive. The first of 10,000 layoffs have begun at health agencies like the FDA and the CDC. CBS reporter Alexander Tin.
As part of a sweeping restructuring ordered last week by Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That includes top health officials ranging from the FDA's top tobacco regulator Brian King, now put on leave, and the NIH's infectious diseases researcher Dr. Jeannie Marazzo, reassigned to the Indian Health Service.
Wisconsin voters are electing a new Supreme Court justice today. It could flip that state's highest court to a 4-3 conservative majority. University of Minnesota politics professor Lawrence Jacobs says it serves as a litmus test for President Trump's first few months in office.
It's going to matter in Wisconsin, one of the battleground states. It'll allow decisions on abortion, redistricting.
And the death toll from the 7.7 magnitude earthquake in Myanmar has now topped 2,700 people, but survivors are still being found. CBS's Vicki Barker.
Trapped beneath a collapsed building near the earthquake's epicenter, this teenager bangs a utensil against concrete and calls out for help. She filmed herself on her phone as she, her sister, and her grandmother crouched in a tiny air pocket surrounded by debris. Miraculously, there's a muffled reply from rescuers outside. All three were later pulled out alive.
4 days under the rubble, and they walked away. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a kerfuffle over how to vote in Pennsylvania, Cuomo off the hook again, and a faith-based childcare ministry that's been knocking it out of the ballpark in New York. Those stories after weather with Kevin Williams.
The call for tonight, clear to partly cloudy. Clouding up later at night near Lake Erie. Low temps, mostly 20s. Tomorrow, some early sunshine, especially central New York and eastern Pennsylvania, but turning out mainly cloudy with some rain or showers developing, mainly in the afternoon from west to east. Be some thunderstorms late in the day near Lake Erie. High temps, 50s. Warmer than Wednesday night and Thursday with rain at times and stiff breezes. High temperatures Thursday in the 60s and lower 70s.
Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. There's been a changing of the rules when you vote in the Keystone State.
Mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania will be counted even if the ballots are misdated.
Our own Mark Webster has more.
Yeah, it's a blow to Republicans who say it harms election integrity in the Keystone State. U.S. District Judge Susan Baxter handed down the decision, which impacts election boards across all of Pennsylvania's 67 counties. Baxter says failing to count a vote because of a misprint of a date violates the First and 14th Amendments. The Republican National Committee says requiring exterior dates stops voter fraud. Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Another federal judge has tossed out a lawsuit against former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. It had to do with 15,000 people who died from COVID in nursing homes during the pandemic after Cuomo ordered them to admit COVID patients in 2020. The judge called the claims brought by 8 families, quote, legally deficient. Pennsylvania Democratic State Senator Lindsey Williams is raising a few eyebrows by what she said concerning trans athletes competing against girls in girls' sports. Take a listen.
Female bodies are just as strong, as fast and capable as male bodies.
Those were her prepared remarks during a recent Senate Education Committee hearing on the Save Women's Sports Act, which bans biological boys from competing against girls.
For what reason, other than political gain, are we spending time and taxpayer dollars on a completely made-up issue?
Supporters say there's nothing made up about the issue, and that's why 80% of voters favor trans bans in female sports. The Save Women's Sports Act passed out of committee by a 7-4 vote. All the Republicans on that committee voted yes. All the Democrats voted no. President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, plans to meet with cops in Rochester, New York, who were scolded by the mayor of that sanctuary city for assisting ICE agents. The police officers arrested 8 illegal immigrants last week, but instead of being praised, they were reprimanded by Mayor Malik Evans. Holman says he's traveling to Rochester to show his appreciation to those officers. And a Syracuse ministry is making a difference in the lives of the homeless. John Tamino runs an outreach called Higher Ground, which creates jobs for the homeless. Coordinator Kevin Batsford tells Spectrum News.
A lot of times they feel like there's no hope, there's no way out. They're just going to be like that the rest of their lives. So we want to bring that hope to them and also bring dignity to them.
Tamino says Batsford, once on the streets himself, is living proof that the program works.
I've seen really great things happen, like really victorious things like Kevin's life. So there's that, yes, this is why we do it.
He says it's all about giving a hand up, not just a hand out. Next at 5, hometown heroes with their own Mark Webster. Today's hero is Lisa Lyon, Executive Director of the Relief Zone, a faith-based child care program in Frewsburg, New York. Let's listen in.
You've seen this grow over 20 years now. What's the impact you've seen in the big picture in the Frewsburg community?
Just the connection, knowing that there's a place. We've just seen, as a community, come together. We have a staff member that works with us right now. He was one of our very first kids in 2006. He has been working for us here for several years. To see that kind of come full circle, he sees the value in it and what it meant to him as a kid growing up. I know our mission is that, the Christian values will be so integrated into the fabric of our community that it touches children's entire lives. Seeing that happen and come to fruition, a lot of the businesses, individuals, churches help to support us. And then it's prayer, too. A lot of the churches will be praying for us, a lot of individuals praying for the organization. It's just phenomenal to see a small town come together.
To learn more about the Relief Zone, faith-based childcare, you can subscribe, listen to, and share this hometown hero and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org. Time next for tonight's market report, brought to you by Faithward Advisors. Stocks are closing mixed as Wall Street braces for President Trump's tariff rollout. At the final bell, the Dow fell 11 points to 41,989. The S&P 500 rose 21 points to 56,33, and the Nasdaq gained 150 points to 17,449. Faithward Advisors is a Christian financial planning firm online at faithwardadvisors.com.
Let's have a few laughs. We could certainly use them. Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. On this April Fool's Day, here are some funny money-related sayings. We'll start with this one. By the time you can make ends meet, they move the ends. Here's another. I used to live paycheck to paycheck, but through hard work and perseverance, I now live direct deposit to direct deposit. Here's a definition of gambling, a sure way of getting nothing for something. With tax day ahead, here's one about taxes. Have you ever noticed a slight tax increase seems to cost you a few $100, while a substantial tax cut saves you only a few cents? Laughter's good for us. Life's filled with trouble, but as the scriptures say, a cheerful heart is good medicine. We can help you learn to manage your money according to biblical principles when you download the free FaithFi app. You'll find it on our website at faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, how far would you go to prank your teenager? How about 100 teenagers? One school got them good on April Fool's Day. We got that story after weather with Kevin Williams.
Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. We've got a chilly night coming up, a quiet night weather-wise, but things are changing. We've got a disturbance that'll be arriving later tomorrow, bringing with it warmer air, but some rain and some wind. And then as the temperatures climb through Thursday, only look for another cold shot of air to come in for the following weekend. The call for tonight, clear to partly cloudy, clouding up later at night near Lake Erie, low temps mostly 20s. Tomorrow, some early sunshine, especially central New York and eastern Pennsylvania, but turning out mainly cloudy with some rain or showers developing mainly in the afternoon from west to east. Be some thunderstorms late in the day near Lake Erie. High temps 50s. Warmer than Wednesday night and Thursday with rain at times and stiff breezes. High temperatures Thursday in the 60s and lower 70s.
All right, Kevin, finally at 5. How is this for an April Fool's Day joke? The Wollongong High School principal in Australia called all the juniors to the gym to say this today.
Good morning, Year 11. I have some really significant news. This news will affect you all directly and will impact your graduation dates. A mandatory Year 13 has been added to your educational pathway. And therefore, you will no longer be graduating in 2026. You will now be graduating in 2027.
That didn't go over well. She keeps a straight face and keeps going.
So it is compulsory that you complete your 13th year. There is one other vital piece of information that I need to share with you. Wollongong High School of the Performing Arts this year was selected to be a part of the 2025 April Fool's Day joke. I am happy to announce, guys, that you are most certainly graduating in 2026.
The grand finale. The high school that gets the prize this year for April Fool's Day jokes, but the teenagers didn't think so much of it. And that's the world that we live in for Tuesday, the 1st of April. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.